Welcome to this demo of Envosound, the retro 8-bit gaming synthesizer. Today, we're going to walk through the basic features, as well as cover the story of how it came into existence. Writing computer games back in the 80s, the home computer hardware was pretty basic. The Texas Instruments SN76489 had 4 channels of sound with either an analog square wave or pseudo-random square noise. There was 4 bits of volume control, giving 16 levels, and 10 bits of pitch control, giving 1024 frequencies. All you could get was some pretty basic beeps until people found a better way of controlling it. The place I first saw this was on the BBC Micro. It had the concept of an envelope defined by 14 integers. This was effectively a patch. The first thing the envelope patch defined was an amplitude envelope. This was the classic ADSR that everyone knows. 4 stages: attack, decay, sustain, release. That gave you the first dimension of control, but the envelope also defined how the pitch changed throughout the sound. Whilst the amplitude envelope was playing, you could change the pitch too, in both smooth increments or musical intervals. That allowed you to do things like an octave step to create an attack sound. Like that. And if we make it faster, like this. And we could start to loop this around. Starting fast and slowing down, you get. Okay, so everyone's heard that sound, but you can also do other things like creating a chord by going up 4 semitones, then 3, and then 5. Now every note we play, you'll get an arpeggiated major chord sequence. And then we can make those intervals repeat. That leads to a rising octave pattern. But if we add another step and go back down a whole octave, we kind of get back to where we started, and we have an arpeggio. But things don't need to be so regular. We can play around with the steps. One thing I wanted to draw your attention to is the step display, which visualizes the pitch patterns we are creating. If we go back to something simple, 1 repeating step up, and then vary the interval, you can see how it behaves. You can see that it's looping around. We can control the allowable octave range for the notes to appear in. I will set a smaller range here. And we can configure what happens when the pattern takes it out of that range. One option is to just stop. Or we can silence the step. That is useful when we've got patterns that warble up and down. Or we can just clamp at the limit. So far, we've been using the chromatic scale, where every interval is a single semitone. But we have many other options here. If we choose a scale of C major, all the step offsets are relative to that scale. So here is a simple pattern going up 1 interval at a time. And here is a C minor scale. Microtonal 4 divides each semitone into 4. This was the tuning we used in games because it allowed for smooth frequency effects as well as tuned music. We can get nice gliding sound effects. We can create a siren by going up and down. Back to chromatic. We get a 4 times larger pitch range. Octave tuning creates more crazy sounds. Let's also take a look at microtonal 16. This creates very smooth changes in pitch. Okay, there is one other special scale mode called As Played, which I wanted to show you. It emulates traditional arpeggiators, where each concurrent note you hold defines the scale. So, if we play an F minor, okay, I'll reduce the range of this step pattern. 4 notes up, and then 4 down. If you only play a single note, the scale becomes octaves. Playing 2 notes, but you can play anything, including sevenths and augmented chords. Next, I want to show you how the step clock operates. If we change the rate, it smoothly ramps up and down to the desired speed. The time it takes to change is defined by the glide time knob. You can set it to be instantaneous or over a configured number of beats. The clock will always remain locked to the beat once it reaches the target rate. If we add a metronome, we can hear how this works. We can also control the rate with the pitch bend wheel. Changing the modulation knobs lets us set how many times slower or faster the wheel will change the rate. And slower if we rotate the wheel down. This can be used to recreate some classic chip tunes. Let's put the clock to a faster rate and go back to the 4 up, 4 down pattern we used earlier. Now I want to show you a couple of advanced step controls. Whilst we were developing games, we added a couple of second-order controls which modify either the number of steps or the size of the steps over time. So taking this straightforward warble, we can set a pitch delta over time. You can see the effect on the step display. We can do the same thing with the step counts. Or if we have high counts, we can make, then reduce over time. With the relativistic arpeggiation, we can create interesting glissandos. First, we set the scale back to as played, and set a simple repeating down one interval pattern. Then if we play a chord, playing that slower, and we can play any chord to fit a particular harmonic progression. We can also make more complex patterns, say 2 down and 1 up, so the overall progression is downward. You can also change the chord whilst the sequence is playing. Okay, so I think that gives you a good introduction to all the key features of Envosound. We've not talked about the oscillator section yet. That will have to wait till a future video. And don't forget to get your free download of Envosound from the Tsuga audio website.